Train by day, Kyle Wigington podcast by night, all day.
Avi and Lucas, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you.
Yeah. So like, you guys, the reason you're on here is because of your app, right? Mosa.
Yeah,
Yeah. It's a really cool app. If you guys will tell me about it a little bit.
sure. Yeah, so we do B2B and a B2C app. So we work with.
Yeah. Tell me about it in like dummy terms.
Yeah.
So that they already like went over the heads of most people that are going to listen to this.
Are we live?
Yeah.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
cool.
Perfect. So yeah, we work with bars and restaurants across New Orleans, offer kind of incentives to drive people during their slow times and just retain local customers as well. So yeah, way we do it is, when we work with a bar or restaurant, we say, hey, offer these incentives, get 10, 15, 20% off for anybody that comes in during select times. And there's also a kind of social aspect to it where if they invite friends with them, they get a little bit more of a kickback. That way it's kind of incentivizing people, text, call their friends and actually come to the bar.
Mhm.
So the bar restaurant makes more volume and, we take a little bit of cut from the bar and everybody wins.
Yeah.
So that's really just the whole idea.
Yeah, I think it's the perfect time for that too. I was actually down eating at one of my buddies' restaurants this past week, and they were telling me how slow it's been right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, it'd be a perfect time for something like that. And have you like felt the effects of the economy on it at all?
Yeah, I mean, I think, well, at least because we got customer acquisition on two sides, right? We got to get the users and we got the merchants. And the merchants, I think we've been doing pretty well definitely with, COVID, definitely in the summer, people are a little bit slower. So we've definitely got pretty positive responses. Then when things pick up a little bit, bars tend to think they're okay, but there's always like cyclical seasons. And so, but otherwise in general, yeah, it's been pretty good.
Nice.
Also, to speak to the economics thing, we've been seeing like everything's getting more expensive, but bars don't want to raise their prices. So
Yeah.
it's like kind of a balancing act for them. And then also you have all these workers who want to get paid more. So a lot of times, maybe bars have to cut their staff or work with more limited staff. Those are two other like economic forces that we're seeing play out.
Yeah, no, we're actually one of those. We're in that category. Like we don't want to raise our prices, but everything is getting more expensive on us.
Really?
I mean, people are just used to paying their $3 for a PBR. They don't want to raise their price for that. But it's part of the business process. Yeah, but it'd be nice to have like that the apps like this to actually pull more people into the business whenever we do get the slow times.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, incentive apps are nothing new. We've seen like lots of loyalty reward programs, that kind of thing. So that's usually kind of what we say is, lots of coffee shops, they have a buy 10 cups of coffee, get the 11th cup.
Eat that mic, bro.
All right.
There you go.
Buy 10 cups, get the 11th cup free.
Yeah.
But, that works great for where people are regularly consistent, maybe 3, 4, 5 days a week. They have a favorite lunch spot, breakfast spot. But with us, it's, people are going out to a bar. Maybe it's once or twice a week at most. But that's why, we did the kind of socially driven cashback rewards. That's how we describe it rather than just repeat purchases. Because I think it's a bit of a different mentality.
No, I like it, dude. There's another guy who has a similar type thing that comes in the bar, and they do a little differently with theirs. But I mean, I like what you guys are working with.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Which one?
What is it called? It's called. Oh my God, I can't even think of it. I can't think right now. Yeah. Yeah. The guy's name's Noah. I know that the guy's name's Noah, but I don't know his app. Yeah.
Gotcha.
It's drinking something. I don't know. Yeah. Like anything is.
Right.
But yeah. So how did you guys come up with the idea?
Yeah, I mean, Austin was on Rainy Street, and that's kind of where it originated. It was like, what if we could kind of have an inventory of all the drinks that a bar could make you based on, what kind of cocktail you would want. Then stemming from that, we were figuring out a revenue model. So it was, well, how could we actually get people to pay for it? And then that's kind of where the idea of, just people inviting others to earn some cash back came. And so we kind of ditched the original, cocktail enthusiasts. That's definitely a market, but it's pretty niche, for our application. So, we just made it entirely about the revenue model. And so, that's where the idea came from.
Yeah, there's a lot of good ideas that come about today, but if you don't have a revenue model behind it, the idea is never going to go anywhere.
Oh yeah. I mean, absolutely. I think, most famously, like, Venmo was one of those where it's so popular for what it is today, but, they just didn't have a great revenue model until they got the investors. I think that Yeah, that was just one of the examples that I was thinking of. And you think about how popular it is today, but
Well, yeah. So I was actually talking to someone about this thing, and he was telling me a part of the way they make their money in Venmo is they have the 3-day waiting period.
right.
So he says there's all this money locked up in a 3-day waiting period, and they're taking this and they're investing it and then making the interest rate off of it.
Yep.
And I was like, that's fucked up, but it's actually good to make their business model work.
Sure. Yeah. And I mean, you do have like the option, the instant payout, but then you pay the percentage,
for
right?
it.
So yeah, I mean, it makes sense. Yeah. Invest the float while the money's sitting in the account. And yeah, that's kind of, we do something a little bit similar because we have like a cashback point. So, people get this in their account, and then once they actually want the reward, then they can cash out for it.
Yeah. So did you guys program it and everything?
Yeah. It was from scratch. So
How'd you learn how to do all that?
I just picked it up. So it's really not self-taught. So my background is actually chemical engineering. So worked in petroleum for a few years, and then
And you
learned to develop.
Yeah, I'm a computer scientist like by training. So
nice.
But the iOS stuff is something I'm still learning a lot about.
Yeah. Is it tough? Is it different?
There's things that make it different and things that are similar. So a lot of the writing style is similar, but then they're, since it's very user interface-y, a lot of that I'm usually in the back end. So
yeah,
it's like pure code now. It's like dealing with like a lot of objects and tweaking them.
Yeah, it makes it easier for a layman like me to do those things now.
Yeah.
I've seen some of the like Excel spreadsheet ones that actually like build the front end stuff for you and just do everything through Excel.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, those are pretty cool to use. I think that's actually what they use for the other drinking app.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, I mean, and there's one guy that actually codes a lot of the stuff they use, but most of it's just like Excel spreadsheets and stuff.
Gotcha.
I don't think I follow the Excel spreadsheets. How does that work?
Oh no.
Yeah. I don't actually know how it works. I guess there's code in there that just like lets you block things out, and then it puts it in the blocks for you. So you basically have a template, and then you go into the Excel spreadsheet and you fill in the template with your data, and then it just moves it over to the app and makes it work that way.
Gotcha.
So you don't actually do any coding. So, I mean, it makes it like very easy to do, but like it's, I think you're still missing the whole like create from scratch part of it. Like you're dealing with templates.
Right. Yeah. And so I've seen a lot of implementations of, you can go so many levels in code, right? Is very down to the very root of it, or you can get higher levels. And yeah, as when you get to kind of drag and drop, you can definitely do some really cool things, but
you can't like create from scratch.
No. And when you do run into a barrier, sometimes it can be hard to then customize it to where you actually need it to go.
Yeah.
So then, how you get past that, I think that's kind of the challenge.
It's like me with like After Effects and video editing stuff. Like I learned from scratch up, and now you can go find any template you want to out there, but you still run into those problems where it's like, okay, how do I take this piece out and move this over? Unless you know the back end side of how to do these things from the scratch up, you can't do anything with it.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I mean, it really helps to know how the cogs work, right? It's just, that's how we made our product what it is. So
are you guys just in New Orleans right now, or have you been in other places too?
Yeah, we're in New Orleans right now, and then looking to expand pretty soon.
Well, this is a great city to be in because I mean, there's bars on every fucking corner.
This is true.
Yeah, bars, restaurants. You guys do restaurants too, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so it's a big city. If you can take it over, you can take over anything.
And indeed. So yeah, I mean, one of the things like we're looking at for criteria to expand is just like bar restaurant density. I mean, that's probably like the number one thing is, would this be a good app like in a college town? Maybe. But there's only so many spots, right? If it's just a college town.
Yeah.
So then it's like, you got to kind of calculate in, well, how many of them are going to work with us? And then if it doesn't work in enough. So a big city is preferable as well. So that's why
you just got to let the kids know which ones will serve under 21. then they'll go to that bar.
There you go. No. Can't promote under 21.
So yeah, what else you guys into? I mean, you make the app. What else do you guys do?
Man, that's 12, 14 hours a day. So.
Isn't that the truth though? Anytime you're trying to create something from the ground up, it's like there's so much work that goes into it that most people don't even see. Yeah.
I mean, tell us about another bar. I mean,
same thing, dude. Here? Yeah, I think the first time I saw you, I was like stressed out to the max. And I was like, dude, just get out of my face.
Right.
I don't know who you are. Get away from me. Yeah. No, but it's like, it's the same thing. Anytime you're running a business, you're dealing with so many things on the back end that no one ever even sees. And they come to the business, they enjoy it and everything. And it's great. But it's just it's a nightmare, man. It's stress all the time.
Yeah, it's the iceberg. It's what you don't see.
Yeah.
That's what goes into it. So yeah, I mean, that's why it's been great having Avi on board is, handle technical stuff, change it really rapidly. That's the beautiful thing about software is just, fix it as you go and push out a new update. But yeah, we've had Avi and myself also as well. Just
it's a 2-man show.
Yeah. And then we're taking on probably third and fourth Q1 next year.
Yeah.
So,
That's good, dude. I mean, it's great to have people on your team like that you can like just have you back you up. That's the problem that I don't have here. There's really not. There's just me. It's a 1-man show.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. So it's a lot of work. Even doing the podcast stuff. Like you see today, there's just one person here.
Yeah.
That's what makes it stressful. Like if there was, I see other businesses around that they run with like partnerships,
right?
And just like moving the workload on someone else, like just partnering up with it, a lot easier.
Yeah. So I mean, because we've worked with, or talked to at least dozens and dozens of bars across the city, and everyone kind of structured a little bit differently. But do you work closely with the owner? Does the owner come in?
I never see the guy.
Never see him. Okay.
No, that's why like whenever we talked about it, I was like, it's his call on this,
right?
Like, it's not for me.
Gotcha. Yeah, that's the tricky piece is, we've been finding is sometimes the owners involved like day to day and sometimes they come in spontaneously, but it's just everybody's a little bit different.
Yeah. And I kind of like it because it does free me up to do whatever I want to here. So we do the open mics. We we do a lot of stuff with artists around here. So we do a lot of art heavy stuff.
Very cool.
And I didn't know if it was just him here, he wouldn't do any of that.
Right.
Yeah. Great guy. But just like, some people they're only focused on the money side of it. They're not focused on making people's lives improve.
Okay.
Yeah. And I think there's a good balance there.
Yeah.
Like even with the app that you guys have, like there's a way you have the social aspect of it, which is improving people's lives, but you also have the financial aspect too.
Right.
And you gotta have a good balance.
Yeah. 100%. So yeah, I mean, because again, kind of doing the self-promoting thing for our app, but one of the other ones is, when people check into the restaurant, it lets everybody else that they're connected with know that, they checked in. And I think that's kind of like another neat way we can repeat customers that, people that participate with us is things that like, traditional marketing, Instagram, et cetera, you can push updates posts, but not necessarily are the people that follow your account going to see that post. Right. And so with us, it's kind of like we have push notifications available to us. And I think that's like another really powerful feature of apps is.
Well, explain that again.
Yeah. So like, right. If somebody comes to another bar and you guys worked with us and they, make a purchase, the next week we can push them and say, hey, another bar is given 20% back during this time. Come with your friends, invite 2 more.
Yeah.
And that's just one thing we can push manually. But another thing that kind of happens automatically is, somebody comes, they check in to another bar, then it pushes a notification to all their friends. Hey, Steven checked into another bar. And then now they're thinking, okay. Yeah. I didn't know Steven's over there. Sure. Yeah.
That's dope, especially for a neighborhood bar like this. Yeah.
Right. So yeah, I mean, that's like something I think that's really powerful about our platform.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, when you have a place like this right here, it's a neighborhood bar. I mean, most of the people we get are literally from the neighborhood. So, I mean, yeah, they'll definitely come out. They see their buddies are out.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I like the idea. Hopefully we can help you guys get some traction with this.
Yeah. Likewise. So, we're about at 45, 50 spots now in New Orleans. So yeah, definitely like a strong kind of foundational group, but yeah, we're growing slowly but steadily with kind of our merchant side.
Yeah.
And then, getting the users on as well. So, what we actually have going on is how many bartenders you guys got?
We have 4.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very cool. Yeah. So the way we're like pushing it to get people is, we have a lot of the bartenders at the merchants. They're kind of getting the people to download the app. Right. But, obviously we don't want to cannibalize the business and just, they download the app right there. They get an incentive and the merchant pays for all of it. Right. So what we do is we pay for the first kind of cost that the customer, accumulates when they first download the app and use it. And that way, if, we get a repeat customer, then, obviously we take credit for that.
Yeah, that's cool.
So
I like it.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, really that's the place we're at now. Looking probably to expand to DC and Austin.
What's that? What you expanded that to DC for? Like, what's the reason behind that? Why not somewhere else first?
Yeah, I mean, Austin probably primarily our focus, but we also have one of our guys that's kind of interested in joining. He does sales in DC, and he's got some network opportunities there as well. So, and
cool.
Yeah, it's as good a city as any.
So I think Austin's another good one for you because it's kind of like New Orleans, isn't it?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's just bars on every street, and then it's a lot of young people.
I love Austin. You been?
No, I've never been. No.
Oh, yeah.
Heard a lot about it. I was actually bartending in the French Quarter whenever everyone was like migrating to Austin.
Yeah.
So every week we would just see new people coming in, like, I'm moving to Austin.
Right.
And it's like, oh, well, their infrastructure is going to die.
Yeah.
I heard there's a lot of people there.
Yeah. I mean, it's what, 800, 900,000. So probably about twice this, two and a half times the size of New Orleans population.
So what's our population here? 400,000?
400. Yeah.
Okay. Someone was asking me that the other night, actually.
Right.
And I told him I didn't know.
Yeah. No. And then, I mean, I don't know what that is. That the 5 mile radius? Is that the 10, 15?
Oh, just the greater New Orleans.
Right.
So
then there's the greater. That's probably more people. So
yeah. Yeah. So like, what do you guys think how do you think the economy is going to affect anything?
Man, I mean,
I think it'll actually help you guys.
You think?
I think so. Yeah. Because I mean, people are going to be looking for deals.
Yeah.
And your app's one that shows them where the deals are.
Yeah. I mean, the inflation piece is definitely a component. Yeah. Like Avi was hinting at earlier, it's merchants are kind of debating, when do we raise prices? Do we keep it the same? And, you know, if they do keep the prices the same and they're fighting inflation, then it makes it a little trickier in their mind to give up some kind of incentive to bring people in. But you know, the thing we try to tell them is we do validated purchases. So it's guaranteed results, and that's how we make our money. And, you know, traditional advertising, again, you're putting dollars out there and you're hoping it brings in people. But for brick and mortar stores, it's hard to validate how many of those people saw that ad, which one of them actually came and bought a drink, right? With us, it's like, no, we know exactly which customers we bought you. Those are the only ones we charge you for. So yeah. But no, to your point, I think, it should work out in our favor.
That should. I mean, like, what do you think is going to solve this problem economically? What do you think is going to solve this problem that we're going through, the inflation problem?
Whenever, man, it beats me. However the Fed chooses to hike the rate.
I don't think they know what they're even doing, though. That's the problem these days.
What do you think the next hike rate is? 75, 50 points?
That's what I'm saying. I don't even think they know what they're doing anymore.
Yeah.
They're just kicking the can down the road and let someone else try to figure it out.
Yeah.
I think it's all going to implode in their face before it's all over with.
Yeah. If you watch the market, it's just, I don't know. They go hinting, you know, they might be doing 50 points. Great. Market rejoices. And then now it's kind of doing this and it's, you know, oscillates. So yeah, nobody really. Yeah.
The market, I think they don't even know what they're doing there either. So, I think people are just like, you know, kind of like biding their time until it all just falls apart, trying to take as much as they can right now.
Yeah. I think it's just kind of a hold steady right now. So the biggest crash looks like it's happened, hopefully. And then now people are just kind of waiting it out until things start turning around.
I like your optimism.
That's what I'm here for.
Yeah. No, I try to look at the bigger picture. I think the bigger picture here now is it's only just begun.
Yeah.
Yeah. Unfortunately.
I mean, I think.
And this is what we really talk about on the podcast.
Okay.
Yeah. Like, welcome to the Another Bar podcast.
Well, yeah. Thank you. Yeah. I don't know how deep you want to get.
Now let's go, dude. This is what we like. This is what I like anyway.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think, before.
We'll use the first part. We'll cut that up and use it for your like ad to push your stuff out.
Perfect.
Yeah. But then now we get into the juicy shit. No one has to listen to this.
Yeah. No, this is, it's good. But I think, a lot of tech stocks, obviously pretty overly inflated before everything kind of hit ground bottom. But so it doesn't mean that, you know, they're not worth anything. It's just that they were definitely overvalued. And now maybe realism has set in, and that's kind of why the prices are what they are.
Yeah, I think that's the problem with the stock market in general. Everything's pretty much overvalued.
Yeah. And
that's because we're just manipulating numbers. We're not actually looking at the value of the company.
Yeah. I mean, but
even Bezos was saying that in the beginning. You know, his company, I think Amazon was like bottomed out or something. And he's like, yeah, but that really means nothing. Our company's bringing value to the world. Right. So just the fact that our stock price is nothing, it means nothing.
Yeah. I mean, definitely on the short term that, the prices can be manipulated, inflated, undervalued, but long-term, right, is kind of what reigns. And that's why people do long-term investment strategies. So it's, there's always course corrections, right? Just like this, inflation hits, the economy looks like it's, you know, tanking, and then people start selling the shares that they have, and course corrects itself. So it's a long-term game.
If you look at cycles of history, you'll see that currencies tend to fall on their face after a certain amount of time.
Yeah.
And this is like if you look at the cycles of history, this is the the beginning of the end of this currency, the American dollar, world currencies. So you can like look back in the past and you see all these other world currencies that have fallen, and they fall in the exact same way. We just keep inflating the prices until eventually another currency forms. And normally there's a war that happens before the regime change.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like we're like on the cusp of the war, as you can see with the world right now. So we'll see kind of what happens. So it's kind of like we're in such a state of flux right now that you don't know which way it's going to turn. Right.
Yeah. No, I haven't given much detail or attention to history of currencies, but no, it's interesting. I mean, trying to think of that. Is there any currency you know of that's holding strong, or anything that you think looks more positive?
Well, there are. And it's kind of scary to say it, but China, Brazil, and Russia all just came together, and they're creating their own currency that I believe is going to be the next currency. And I think it's going to be a
crypto or something?
A crypto type currency. Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's why I think U.S. is actually scrambling right now to make their own form of currency, which what they should have done is just let Ethereum and Bitcoin do their thing. That way it's not a centralized currency. It's decentralized.
Right.
I'm a huge fan of decentralization of everything. I think that people should own their own shit.
Yeah.
And they shouldn't depend on the government.
Oh, I understand.
Yeah. So I think what they've done this entire past year is just fuck everyone out of a lot of money.
Yeah. It's, man, I mean, it's just tricky from all sides with the COVID lockdowns and such.
What did you guys think about that?
Oh, as far as, which aspect?
All of it.
Oh, why don't you take the first stab?
No one wants to talk about this shit. Dude, I think it's all bullshit.
So controversial.
Like we had a nice business running here, and then one day they came in and was just like, no one come back.
Right.
And it's like, what? Like we've been working for years to grow this place.
Yeah.
And then you're just going to tell us all to go home.
Right.
And it was a nightmare, dude. So we were closed for a year and a half, I think is what it was. And then the new owner came in and bought the place. And we had to reopen under everything was brand new.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's a nightmare for people who are actually growing small businesses.
No, I very sympathetic to that. So remind me, because it's just, I mean, it's recent history, but it was like,
no, like it wiped everyone out and the brain mentally.
Yeah. But like there were some cities that were always like on the forefront of the most strictest. And that was like New York, San Francisco, maybe New Orleans. I'm not sure if.
Oh yeah. We were one of them. Yeah.
They were always like, you know.
Yeah, no, we weren't as bad as like New York was. I think New York even stopped flights from leaving New York and stuff. So I had friends that were trapped in New York.
Really?
Yeah. They're like, dude, we're just trying to get the fuck back home.
Can't take a car.
Yeah.
Well, I guess, yeah. I mean, but obviously.
But no, most of them didn't have cars. They flew to New York, used the subway.
Gotcha. Man. Yeah, for most of the lockdown, I was just holed up here in New Orleans. But
yeah, me too. I actually enjoyed it. I'm a very introverted person. So when it comes to like just being at home, like being by myself, like doing research or shit,
right?
Like that's what I'd love to do.
Yeah.
So if I could do that for the rest of my life, I would do it. Put me in lockdown forever.
Nice.
But I mean, there's still, you got to still make money.
Right.
That was the issue for me, is like they shut down my form of income basically.
Yeah. What were you doing at the time you were here?
I was here, and then also working in the film industry.
Okay. Nice.
Yeah. So I do that as well. And now I can't do that anymore.
Really?
Yeah. I refuse to get the jab.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah. So, I mean, I was like, fuck it, dude. I just won't do that side of my life anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they still won't let you come on set unless you have one of those, or unless you get tested like every single day.
Gotcha.
And it's like, can't we all see this is all over with now?
Yeah.
It's all just bullshit.
I understand. So yeah, they do have a pretty big film industry in New Orleans. Yeah. Is that how you got tied in, just from here, or did you? Yeah,
that's how I came down to New Orleans to chase after that.
Oh, cool. Okay.
Yeah. And then I came down here and started bartending because I need a form of income when I get down here.
You said French Quarter.
Went to the French Quarter first, got a job bartending, and then slowly moved into running this place and kind of doing my own stuff.
Nice. Yeah. Yeah. Do you miss Arkansas ever?
I do miss it. It's a very different place than New Orleans, but New Orleans has its own like charm, you know? There's just not much to do in Arkansas. It's a very beautiful, beautiful place. People are all super nice.
Right.
It's great for raising kids. If you want to raise kids, I have no desire to raise kids. So, you know, come down here and learn about the world. Gotcha. That's what's great about New Orleans, is you can meet people from all over the world. So I don't have to travel anywhere because I hate traveling. They just basically come to me.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
I mean, New Orleans is a great city, but I do want to see more cities too. I've been here about 5 years. So
yeah, no, and I get that people want to do that, but I literally have no desire to go anywhere else. I've been to a third world country, I've seen how the other side lives.
Which
Ecuador.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I went to Ecuador and saw people live, and they were so fucking happy. Like people
Right.
over here, they hate their lives. Like, but we have everything given to us all the time. Like those people are just happy.
No, I saw the same thing in Haiti.
Mhm.
Yeah, same sentiment. It's
Yeah, but
everyone there is happier.
Yeah, I saw the negative, I saw the positive, and I'm like, okay, everything else is just in between. So now I just want to meet the people.
Right.
So I'm trying to meet as many people as I can and learn about as many people as I can. Ask them very similar questions too. That's why I noticed in the quarter that, I always had this like bias because I only been around like my type of people for my whole life. So when I started meeting people from all across the world, I started asking them a very similar set of questions to look for the commonalities in their answers.
Yeah.
And then I realized that, we all have a similar story, a similar structure. We just have to get to the root of it. And no one ever takes the time to get to the root of these stories. They just go, yeah, this is a person I don't know, I don't understand, I don't like them. So it's all just ignorance is all it is. All this like hatred that we have in the world, we're ignorant of each other.
Yeah.
I don't think there's that much maliciousness. I think there's maybe a small segment of the population that just want it all, but everyone else just wants to get along.
Yeah. But open conversations and open-mindedness.
And that's where I think this all stems from. I think that all this like stems back from Congress. I think until Congress gets regulated by the people, that they're going to keep passing laws that are only benefit them or benefit the extremely wealthy.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So that's my take on everything.
What do you mean by regulated Congress?
I think that our system of government has yet to evolve. Like every other system on this planet evolves or it dies. Our system of government hasn't evolved in years since it's been grown. Like we've had amendments and stuff get added, but all they do is add more shit to the pile of shit that we have already. They don't actually evolve the system. What I think needs to happen is I think that the people like us, everyday people who really never look at government, like we need to start taking more oversight on Congress. Like no one has a clue what's going on in the House or the Senate. But what we could do is we could actually start anytime they go to vote on something, it could be sent out to the phone, just like the notifications you guys have, push notified to the phones. You get a chance to vote on it, just like the dating apps. You swipe left or right, and then and we get a sense of like how the people want to vote, so that whenever the actual Senate or House member votes, you have a baseline for the way their constituents wanted them to vote. So you can see if they're voting negative or positive to what the people want.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Would it be like actual enforcement or kind of just more suggestion, do you think?
Well, it wouldn't be suggestion or enforcement. What it would be is just a report card in a sense of what that politician should vote for.
I see.
Yeah. So it really doesn't mean anything to politician. We're just basically, it's a way to regulate what they're doing.
Okay.
So right now we have no way to regulate what's actually going on. Like you can ask anyone on the street, like, how do you feel about this issue? They'll give you an answer, but there's no way for the politician to actually hear that. There's no way to check that politician if they vote opposite.
Right.
Because we have an issue right now with everyone paying politicians to vote a certain way. That's where the lobbyist aspect comes in. You're just giving money to politicians to vote. They don't actually know what they're voting for. So when you actually check those guys, you get the ones that are just getting paid out of the system, and you actually get people in there that want to benefit the system, benefit the people, to do the job right.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I know how it's supposed to work is, right, they run on a platform, and then the guy that says, so my issues align more with your issues, that's the guy that gets elected. But yeah, when they actually come to voting on things that matter or, decisions that will impact. Yeah, I think you're right. It's just, there's not a lot of transparency there until after the facts.
Yeah.
And then they're like, so-and-so voted for this 16 list of things. And I don't know, people lose track.
Yeah.
Easily. Short memories.
And even when it comes to elections, like you don't have a clue what, who did what in the election. That's why we get all these like slander campaigns that come out over the TV and stuff when a new election comes, because they're literally just playing on your short-term memory. Oh, well, this person did this. I heard that on the TV in the slander campaign. And it's like, but do you really know what they did? So if you have this app or this way to look on your phone, you simply look at that and see who's done right by the people and who's done wrong by the people. That's who gets reelected.
Yeah. I wonder if they have something like that actually kind of already in existence. I don't know.
No, I've been researching it for now, like 3 or 4 years now. Yeah. Okay. Nothing really like that.
Nothing.
Yeah.
I would think actually politicians would like that, because then they can say, hey, listen, I have aligned myself with what you guys say.
Yeah.
Like you can see my track record. And I mean, that just gives them more of an opportunity to, kind of ensure those votes.
Yeah. If you were not a crooked politician, you would like that. But if you were one that just wanted to make money, that's why we have so many billionaires and millionaires in Congress.
Yeah, and they can trade stocks on,
Yeah.
as they're making the decisions.
Yeah. There's a new,
problem.
what's the Quiver Quant platform?
Yeah.
Is that what it is? The guy tracks the politicians and the way they're moving their money.
No, I think I've actually been following that guy.
Yeah, dude, it's fascinating.
Very interesting.
Yeah, it's like, oh, these guys are buying stock in this. Like, why the fuck are they buying all this stock? Oh, wait, they just passed a bill. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's crazy, dude. This is all this stuff that we live in. It's just like, it's all corruption. And I think we live in a time where everything's so connected that we can see it. Mm-hmm. Like before this time, you couldn't really see it. But now there's so many people that can see it. And the real question is, why is no one doing anything about it?
Maybe it's just a time element. Everything takes time.
Yeah.
So,
probably.
yeah, I mean, like you said, I mean, things evolve or they die. And this is probably, I mean, the age of information, just everything spreading so quickly. It's great. But yeah, I mean, it still takes time to adapt and change.
It's hard to keep up with everything spreading so quickly now. It's the same way with like the crypto stuff. Whenever it first started coming out, you're like, oh, I got a grasp on this. And then like within a month, there was like 10 new platforms that popped up and it's like, holy shit, what's going on? So it's just like, it's evolving so fast that it's hard for most people to keep up with it. Yeah.
And I think that's just like, I don't know, news in general is some things get really highlighted for a month or two and then they get forgotten, I don't know, Ukraine, right? That's just like is that on regular news cycles? I don't know, but
I have no idea, dude. I stopped following that a long time ago. I was like, this is so war is so wild to me.
Yeah.
I at this day and age, I can't believe we're even still fighting. It's like we're literally sending people over there to die. Like, why is war even a thing? We should be able to communicate our ideas now.
But you think that the next big war is on the horizon where the currency switches, right?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I'm totally against it. I think war's dumb. I think that as intelligent species on the planet, we should be able to communicate our ideas in a way that doesn't involve violence. No one has to die. But I think that when you have weak leadership, and I think that's the problem with a lot of these countries is weak leadership. When you have weak leadership, you have men that just want to send other men to fight their battles for them. If you could actually put the generals on the front line, we wouldn't have any wars anymore.
Yeah. Yeah. People don't want to die, but it's easier to have control if you say, hey, there's a crisis. People are trying to kill you. Give me the power and I'll protect you.
Right. Yeah, I'm totally against that. Yeah, I think that's a big issue with our world is that we have the men that are not actually fighting, that are just saying, hey, give me the power to protect you. But they just want influence over other humans. They don't actually want to stop the crisis because they can make money off these crises.
Yeah,
crises.
Yeah, I was thinking about. Is that the way you say it?
Crises. Yeah, I don't know. They get the point. You get the fucking point.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of things that should work the way they should, but they don't.
Yeah. So how do we change it? Let's change it, man. We're changing the world right now. We're having conversations about it. This is where it starts.
Got to put all the voting on crypto so everyone can see it.
So the system I designed actually works for crypto. Yeah.
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 Are you designing?
Yeah. Yeah. Cool. It's like already on paper. I just haven't moved forward with it since then.
Okay.
I actually reached out. I pitched it to a lot of like prominent people, and it's so crazy that even on the podcast, you see these guys that are yelling all the time. I don't want to call any of them out right now, even though no one's ever going to see this, but like, some of these guys they scream all the time about the negative aspects of our country, and they actually have the money and stuff to change it if they would just use their brains rather than screaming about it to think about the problem and come up with a solution for it. And I pitched these things to them, and they're like, "Well, we don't want to do that," because they don't want to get outside of their box, because they know that as soon as they do, they're going to get smacked on the wrist by the government. So they're literally afraid of the tyrants that they're preaching about all the time, and that's a sad way to live. So I mean, I've been pitching this to people for a better part of 2 years now, and we actually first designed it not to work on blockchain, to work on just a regular system. But then I started thinking about it, started diving into crypto more and more, and I realized that that's a way better system for this, and designed a way to actually work around and make people. We're designed a way for people to. Because blockchain is the way crypto and blockchain is right now, it's very hard for people who have no computer experience to deal with, to navigate. So we designed a simple way for people to log in and create an account and everything.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
But yeah, it's on paper. Like, because you guys know more than anyone how hard it is to take something from paper to real life.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
For sure. the technical debt involved to actually build. What would your application be like? Web-based, mobile-based? I mean,
mobile-based. I mean, it could be both, actually. I think it would like both, because one of the arguments that someone told me, because I've been pitching this for a while now, one of the arguments people kept bringing to me was, well, what about people that don't have cell phones? Well, honestly, in our reality, everyone has cell phones in our nation now. Like, and there's someone that doesn't have and still wants a voice. Mm-hmm. They can get on a computer if they want to and log in. Like, why not have a backend for a computer too?
Right. Yeah. I mean, sounds like pros for the mobile version would be kind of like we were talking earlier, is push notifications to let people know if, hey, this issue is being voted on today, what's your say in it?
Yeah.
But web-based, I mean, might just be a good, minimum viable product to just get out there and see what people think about it. So,
yeah.
And then that works on smartphones, devices, tablets, et cetera. So,
yeah, that's the evolution of the government though, man. I think that's a new thing we could do, but I think every system has to evolve or it dies.
Yeah. Well, hey, yeah, I think it's a great idea.
Do we see any other digital governments in the world? I mean, I guess the United States is kind of not a digital government.
I don't know that there is one. Yeah, I mean, I think this would be this might be a first. Yeah, I think China is very digitized, but they digitize to control people. Like, this is a little different than what they would do. But I don't think there's any other. I haven't found any other place. Yeah, I welcome anyone who has that. I've actually pitched it to some people overseas too to see what they think about it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, everyone thinks it's a great idea, but it's just about getting it done. And there's really, because one of the guys who was talking to me, he said, there's no way they're going to let you do this. And it's like, well, there's really nothing they can do about it.
Yeah, I don't think
it's all public information. Yeah.
Stop. Yeah. I think the trick would be getting it consistently updated in all the areas you wanted it to be relevant.
Yeah.
So, because there's going to be national issues, state issues, local issues. So
yeah,
that seems like a lot of full-time jobs, but I mean, no, it's certainly doable if you just do it on a small scale. And then,
change.org. Have you heard of change.org? It's not exactly like what this is, but I think that they do like petitions basically, where they have these like, these issues that people care about strongly. And I think that they can be localized and people can vote on them. And I think the way that they have that set up is like, hey, look, we got all these people to sign this petition. And then they can use that to then go to the politician and be like, hey, look, this is something that people care about. So it's not exactly like the voting thing, but yeah, you might want to check that. I think that might be somewhat related.
Yeah, the whole thing with this is it's like politicians don't give a shit what the people want. So it's about checking them.
So unless that they vote for them, that's all they care about.
Yeah, but if you take a petition to a politician and they look at it and just go, okay, whatever, throw it away, then yeah, the politician saw your petition, but does he really care about it? You have no way of knowing.
Right.
So the whole idea with this app is that it checks the politician, that whatever they're voting on, they know that the people have eyes on it. They know that the people are going to know how they voted and if they voted for the way the people wanted them to or against the way the people wanted them to. So it's just about, and I think you could actually, so trying to use it in a way that that people already understand. So people understand the educational system, right? They understand the report cards.
Yep.
So you just have a report card for every politician. The more they vote against what the people want, you give them a lower grade on the report card. I mean, you make it, you use the system to your own advantage.
Yeah. I feel like there's two grading systems you could use. There'd be one that, okay, this is what the people on the platform voted is what they prefer for this issue. But then there might be another grade that says, well, even if he voted against that, he still voted true to what he ran his platform on. Right.
Yeah.
And that might be another grade. It's just like, okay, well, doesn't necessarily align with the popular vote at this time, but it is still truthful to, what he said he was going to do.
That's a good point. Yeah.
That's just another aspect.
No, it's a really good point. Yeah. It makes you think. I mean, you think that a politician would change his mind if the people wanted him to? Isn't that kind of the whole point?
Yeah.
Even if it is against their platform, if the people are like, okay, well, your platform didn't work. Now we want something new. Don't you think that the politician should change their mind?
I think flexible and open-minded to new ideas for sure.
Yeah.
I think you don't have to do a 180 necessarily. I mean, then, if you try one thing and then it doesn't work, that doesn't mean you have to do the exact opposite. Maybe you can have various implementations of the same thing, right?
Yeah. Balance, right?
Yeah.
It might be like really close as well, in which case it's like, oh, okay, maybe it's just tipped over here 50%.
Give me an example.
Like, well, I mean, a lot of our, even when we vote nowadays, like almost everywhere, it's like very close to being like 48% this, 51% this.
Yeah.
So you might get these issues where it's like, okay, that's why you have these politicians who are the decision makers who really dive deep into this. Like that's what you're hoping that your politicians do, is they represent you. They have the time to actually look into this issue deeply and make the most informed decision. Have all the experts come and testify or whatever. But then, yeah, at the end of the day, you do want to have like some kind of just like common sense check, which is what it sounds like what you're talking about. Is like, hey, sure, you're the expert. We kind of elevate you. You're like an elite. You have the time to just spend. We pay you well to do that. But then if you're not connected to the average Joe, then you're going to like not make rules that actually help everyone.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's a big problem, is that the politicians are so out of touch with the average person. Like you even saw that during the quarantine stuff, whenever they were in the beginning, when they were giving people money, they're giving people like the money for shutting their jobs down or whatever. What do they call those?
Stimulus checks.
Stimulus checks. Yeah. They were giving people stimulus checks and they're like, oh, well, this is a good payment for them. People are like, oh, that's more money than I make, in like 2 weeks.
Yeah. It drove incentives the wrong way.
Yeah. So. And well, people like, and I'm for that, obviously, but because they shut my business down too.
Right.
But at the same time, it's like, that's how out of touch these politicians are, is they thought that giving you this much money was like good, and you're giving people more money than they've ever had in their life. That's fucking insane that we live in a system like that.
Yeah. And that might be part of what we're seeing today from all the inflation and such, just all the jobs that got shut down and then all the stimulus checks that got written. So
put weak leadership in power. They end up doing stupid shit.
But
I can't do any better though. I don't know why. I just like to talk about it.
I think America is always a very interesting like social experiment, because it's one nation, right? But it's 50 kind of individual experiments. And so every state had their own kind of approach on how they were going to do COVID lockdown, right? So that's also, I don't know much of the data, but like how did Florida do versus California versus Texas versus New York versus other parts of the city, right? Midwest. So.
Or I'm also thinking about China still basically very much in lockdown.
Oh, they're still doing it, aren't they? Yeah.
Yeah. And like, how are they going to ever come out of it if that, like every time someone gets sick, everyone in the town or whatever has to like go inside.
Yeah. I wonder how much of that shit's true. That's my thing with the media nowadays too, is like, you never know what to believe anymore. Like I've seen, and I know that China is a communist regime or whatever, the Communist Party, but them like welding doors shut to keep people in who have a COVID positive test and then letting a building burn down. Have you guys seen this shit?
I haven't seen that one.
Yeah. So that was like a recent one that happened. That's why everyone was like protesting again in China, because they welded some doors shut and then the apartments caught fire and the people couldn't even get out. So like 14 or so people died because they were welded into an apartment.
That's terrifying.
That's what I'm saying. But like, is it really true? Is the stuff going on in Ukraine actually true? Like, I want to believe all these things because it's all horrible stuff, but is it just like fear-based, exposure?
Yeah. I mean, source checking is definitely something everybody has to do nowadays. I feel like, what was it? Decades ago, there was definitely less information. So it seems like you could trust, I guess, in general, more of what you consumed, but now there's just an overload of information and you got to be selective about what is actually true and what's not.
Yeah.
So
what do you guys think about AI?
Big fan. Yeah.
That's Avi's modest. Avi is a PhD. And so this is Dr. Stein.
Yeah. Nice. So you're a big fan of AI. Some of the stuff they're creating is awesome.
Yeah. The GPT-2 and
what is that?
Like all the generative models.
The generative stuff. Yeah.
Like the images where they do the AI art. I think that's cool. What I studied was like, can you use AI to understand code? So kind of like AI looking back at itself.
That's actually something they're doing now too.
Yeah, exactly. I think that will be really helpful. So you have all the low code platforms that we were talking about earlier with like, just drag and drop. I think this might be kind of a good in between there where you say, hey, computer, this is what I'm trying to build. They give you all the complicated stuff. They try to explain it to you and you're still left with all. Okay. So like imagine like Legos. You say, hey, I would like a Lego castle. give you a Lego castle, but then you're still able to take apart the bricks and build a new like tower here or window here. AI I see as like a tool. It's an extension. A hammer is something we use to hit a nail into whatever object. And so the better the tool that we build with, the better the human mind that we can combine, that will have the best results.
Yeah, I agree with you, man. Yeah, I think that people do have a reason to be kind of like scared of it, but at the same time, what we were talking about with fear-based ignorance, I think that if more people just dive into what the AI is actually doing, then they'll realize that there's nothing really to fear. Like that, it's actually a tool to help us build things that can make the world a better place. Yeah, I think I saved an image of it the other night, but it was one of the new AI platforms that it'll let you go in and literally type out what you want the app to do, and then it'll go write the code for you. And I was like, that is so dope.
Mm. Yeah.
I forgot which one it was, but
there's a pretty rudimentary application. But it's probably not fully fleshed out, right?
Oh no, I'm sure it's not. Yeah, I don't know.
But yeah, I mean the beginnings of something new. That's cool.
But the way those things grow too, it's so crazy.
But yeah, I think AI fear would be like you haven't dug into it enough, and maybe that's where it stems from. Is because if you look at like the best implementations of AI would be like chess engines, right? It's like you got a fixed game with a fixed set of rules, and AI kills it, right? Does so phenomenally well.
Yeah.
But if you try to get AI to watch an Oscar-winning movie versus completely horrible movie, it doesn't know.
Like, understanding human emotions, what you're talking about. Yeah. It probably wouldn't get the
I mean, but just like there's so much more subjective reasoning and such going on, and like what makes a quality movie. And I'm just giving one example, but tasks that aren't explicitly discrete with a fixed set of rules like a chess game, it's like it's just still so elementary.
Well, have you seen how the AI works with the neural networks?
No, I'm not too familiar.
Yeah, is that what they call neural networks? Yeah, so it's basically they're modeling it the same way the human brain works, where they're taking like mesh networks, and this is in computer code, okay, mesh networks, and they'll assign percentages to the mesh networks to tell the AI what's good and what's bad, so that it can actually discern between the nuances. So that's like one of the new things that they're doing to make the AI more, I guess, human.
Gotcha.
And it's working really good. But it's kind of the same thing your brain does with the neurons. Like you have this mesh network of neurons that like decides that based on your patterning of what's happened in your life, it assigns weights to what's going on in your life currently. So if someone does come up to you and, we can use the example of like trigger words, that a reason someone's triggered by a word is because something happened in their life that assigns more weight to that word than another word does. So that when that word hits, their brain's going off and going, oh shit, increase the adrenaline in the blood because this is going to happen. Something's going down. So they get a spike in adrenaline. And then also is because they can't control their emotions well. Like if you had a population that can control their emotions better, then they can control what's going on. But the fact that we're basically just like, we're not taught how to control our emotions at a very young age. When we hear those certain things, they trigger us off rather than we just go, okay, we probably shouldn't get mad about this.
Right.
Yeah, but so that's also a concern with the AI, but we're teaching them at a very young age how to control those percentages because we're actually inputting the data. It's cool stuff.
Yeah. I guess like there could be a lot of different triggers as well, right? So
yeah,
so smells or just
well, the one places. Anything with like humans, but the one thing that Musk was concerned about with the AI, and what's probably the main concern, is that if you tell a computer, deal with this threat, right? And the computer looks at us and goes, oh, well, this is the threat. This is the reason behind what's actually causing that. Then it's just going to wipe us out and not care anything about it. Emotionless.
Right.
Yeah. So that's the one concern with it. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Actually, I think we might've been talking about that the other day. I'm trying to remember exactly what the context was. It was like, you give it a task and then it decides, actually, if I just got rid of humans, then I would be done with the task because, I think maybe it was like mail delivery. It's like, finish delivering all this mail. Okay. If I kill humans, no one's going to deliver mail.
Yeah.
So,
right.
I could streamline my efficiency by just getting rid of the mail deliveries. Yeah. The ones delivering the mail.
Yeah. So then everybody says, oh, we'll have fail safes and fail safes for the fail safes to make sure that doesn't, let's like put it in a box and isolate it from the internet and then put that in a box, so.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing when it comes down to creating these new technologies is that humans have a lack of foresight. So we always create these new and like very innovative things, but we end up, blowing ourselves up because we don't look at like what could this be in the future, the possibilities. Just like with the atomic bomb, like we created something that's great, like this source of energy, like the nuclear energy. But then what do? We turned it into something that could be used for destruction. Mm-hmm. So I think with all these new technologies, be it crypto, be it AI, anything like this, I think that it has the potential to be used for good, but there's that duality aspect of it where humans will obviously use it for something bad too.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's certainly good and bad applications, I feel like, of any technology development, right? Mm-hmm. So, yeah.
Except sex toys.
All negative.
Guys, anything else you want to say?
No, man. Psyched to come on here. This is our first podcast, so thank you for having us on.
Yeah, I think you guys did great. I want to work with you guys with your stuff.
Perfect.
I'll see if I can get the old top dog in the game with us. But I look forward to seeing where you guys go. I think it's a really cool product, and I think right now is the time for you guys to explode.
Yeah. Thanks, man.
Appreciate it.
We appreciate that. And with your platform as well. So we can get that off and running.
Yeah. Can people just download the app? Like, should they do that?
Yeah.
They should do?
Yeah. So, I mean, it's on the App Store. Android is in development. So unfortunately not available for Android yet, but yeah, iPhone. Absolutely.
And it's called Mosa.
MOSA.
MOSA. Go download it, people. Get involved.
All right.
Thank you guys for coming in.
Thank you.
Thank you.